Greetings, people of the internet. Hey everybody, what's going on? We are back to work on the Camaro after the end of an F1 race. We'll just leave it at that. But we have our own stuff to worry about, and that would be this Camaro and the flares that are missing. Don't worry about my recycling bin full of paint. But I have been working on creating new flares. So what I've got here is a bunch of 1/2-inch foam. I have hot glued it to the tires and I've been stacking it up. And I'm trying to get just an initial rough shape. So see if I kind of give you an idea of what's going on here. So the new flare should have plenty of room. I like the shape a little bit better, narrows up the car. The way we're gonna finish these is we're gonna finish tweaking the shape. I'm gonna take a look at it kind of in some blue tape to get an idea of things. We're gonna cover it with packing tape after we're happy with everything, and then we're gonna start fiberglassing on top of this. So hang out, let's see how this goes. So if you're looking to do what I'm doing here, and maybe we should wait till the end of this to see if it's gonna work out. Secretly, I've stolen this idea from AJ Hartman. I'll put a link down below. Never met the guy, but he does incredible composite work, and I saw him build his flares on the Mustang this way, so I'm just totally ripping off what he did. So like I mentioned, we've got several layers of foam. It's all hot glued together. The foam is just from Lowe's. They sell it in, plywood size sheets. When you get it, if you're gonna do this, before you hot glue it, there's this membrane, kind of clear plastic that's on both sides. You wanna peel that off because the glue will stick to that, but the foam will break away. So get it down to a raw foam, glue it up. I've got stacks to give me heights for wheel travel. Stacked everything up, and then I just started shaping it roughly. I'm not trying to make this a perfect shape. These steps are all gonna go away when we tape and fiberglass over the top of it. What I didn't do on this side that I should have done first is I should have put packing tape all around this edge, so I'll have to do that before I glass anything up. But for the shaping, I primarily use like 3 tools. I've got the electric turkey knife, which I used on the last set of flares. They're cheap. I've pretty much burned this one up, but it works. I have a Japanese saw, which it doesn't have to be a Japanese saw. This is just what I had. Works great, really cuts through the foam fast. And then just a file for kind of the final shaping of things. So gonna tape this up, see what it looks like. I came in here, got a nice little cut like I want it. The intent here is to block the front of the tire a little bit. I'm not blocking all of it. We'll talk about that later, and then give the air somewhere to go from behind, as well as narrow up the car, just kind of make them look better. The last flares, when I built them, if you follow my build thread, I didn't check for tire clearance first, so I had to modify them after they were made, and that sucked. I'm hoping that's not the case with these. So let's tape this up, see what it looks like, see if we can finalize the shape, and go from there. Oh, I should mention, another benefit of doing it this way with the foam is it is completely repeatable. These dimensions are standard and you can measure away from things. So I am able, and have on the other side, I'm able to replicate exactly what's going on here. So really cool, nice and consistent, easy way to do this, and I think they'll turn out pretty cool. So I've just gone ahead and laid some blue tape over this to kind of get an idea of the shape. I still want to change a couple things down here, but I think we're pretty close. The file actually moves pretty fast through this stuff, so I actually really like it for this last bit of cleaning up. Okay, please excuse the sound of the heater, but this is all packing taped up. And it might be a little hard to see on camera, but the important thing to remember is this is going to be the underside of the piece. So like, I've tried to make it really nice, I've tried to make it really good, but we're going to be putting some fiberglass and some Bond on some others. So this isn't our top surface. We're kind of working from the bottom up with this. So let's mix up some fiberglass and get a layer or two on this. All right, so I'm trying something a little bit different this time. I haven't tried it before, but it seems like a good idea. Why not? Let's go for it. So I use that same packing tape and I cover my work surface, so hopefully my fiberglass won't stick. I have a bunch of this mat. It's all random chunks. There's some more random bits right there. We're not trying to make a full piece to cover this. We're just going to kind of patchwork this stuff in. We're going to get 1 or 2 layers of fiberglass on there, let it dry, and then we're going to build with some filler. So let's get some resin mixed up and start to wet this stuff out. All right, 6 ounces of resin. Now let's add some partner. Clean one of these boys. We'll mix this up and we'll get it on the car. Let's get this okay for now, and we'll go put that on the car. I'm just kind of patching in pieces when they make the most sense, because, you know, we're kind of working with some scrap here and trying to keep some of that off the car, but didn't do great there. One mistake I made before is I tried to make this go round, like kind of under and create a lip. Fiberglass, it just doesn't want to do that. So we don't need a lip. I'm not going to worry about it, but I'd rather have it overhang here a little bit so I have something to trim to than deal with trying to wrap it underneath. Aliens from outer space or invaders from my head. Alright, that's the first-ish layer done. Just want to try to get the layout as smooth as possible. We'll let that cure for a bit. We'll do a second layer and then we'll let it rest overnight before we get into the body filler. So a cool little trick I learned from watching the Street Bandito industry garage guys is when you use cheap brushes like this, just take some super glue and you want to kind of just run that super glue into the bristles right at the edge here. And what that's going to do is make sure that none of these bristles come out when you're working with it. Now, this is a gel here. I've got other super glue that works a little bit better, but this is the first thing I found. But if you do that, then you don't get any loose hairs in what you're working on. It's not a big deal for what I'm doing right now because it's going to get sanded. There's more layers of fiberglass. But when you get to like doing finish epoxies and other things, this is super useful. All right, the flare has had time to cure, and this is just several layers of fiberglass. So now we got to deal with kind of some inconsistent low spots because we did the packing tape. You know, there are little dips and bumps and everything. So we're going to use some kitty hair or some long strand fiberglass filler just to kind of hit these low spots. We're going to fill those in and let that cure, sand it all back, and then we can start doing the final body filler and everything else. But pretty happy with this so far, so let's get some kitty hair on here and see how it turns out. I decided to spare you all video of me running a DA sander, but this is our first, after our first application of kitty hair. Kind of clean that up a little bit in there. But you can see, at least how I do body filler and everything else. I'm not a body man. This car is the first car I ever painted. I tend to put a lot more on and take time sanding it off. So you can see I've had a bunch of low spots. I've got a few more that I have to correct. A couple spots it was getting a little thin, but that's okay. Remember, we did around 2 layers of fiberglass. That's our base layer. We're gonna do one more little bit of kitty hair just to catch some of these low spots, and this is gonna get probably 1 or realistically 2 more layers of fiberglass over top of it. So let me get that last bit of kitty hair on there, level that out, and we'll catch up when it's time to do the next layer of fiberglass. All right, so it looks the same, but that's okay. So now we've done all of our, now we've done all of our kitty hair. Some areas of the fiberglass getting really thin, but I kind of expected that. So I mean, here it even kind of went through a little bit. But again, I may have overworked this a little bit. Hey, it's me. You haven't seen me in a bit. I may have overworked this a little bit, but the intent here is to get the shape and to get things leveled out. So, you know, we kind of did the layer of foam with tape on it. That's our general shape. This got us a lot more dialed in, closer. So now we're gonna, well, you're not gonna see it, but I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side. Then we're gonna mix up some more fiberglass. We're gonna do probably 3 layers, just judging on how thin some of this got. We're gonna do about 3 layers of fiberglass on top of this to finish out the part, and then we'll body work on top of that. So, hang out for a minute and you'll see some more fiberglass. All right, we're about to add our final layers of fiberglass here. So, body worked everything, got it to where I like the shape. I've cut pre-cut 3 layers, which is different than last time. We kind of just threw it all together. This time I've pre-cut 3 layers for either side. We're gonna do it a little differently. We're gonna put resin down first, kind of paint it on, set our piece in place, and then tamp it in. And hopefully we should have a good, strong flare. So let's see how it goes.
It's time for a change. Time is running out. We'll never be the same. The world is passing you by. Full paper airplane. Time is running out. Impossible to aim. Because you've got baby hard to wait. Your life has no direction. You're on an expedition with no set destination. No more tomorrows. No more tomorrows. No more tomorrows. No more.
It is the next day. These are all hardened up. They look awesome. This one's a little lumpy on top, but it's really not too bad. It'll smooth out with some sanding and some body filler. But first we're gonna put some locating holes in so that we can find where these go after they come off the car, and we're gonna pop them off the car, which is pretty exciting. I did, kind of unintentionally, this is the thinnest part of the piece, but this is also where this top layer and this lower layer overlap. So this should be really strong. I'm excited to see how that turns out. But anyway, let's drill some holes and pop this off.
All right, so let's pop that shirt off and we'll start punching.
All right, moment of truth. Where do we even begin? Okay, it's a good start. There we go. All right, we're outside. There's the truck again. That's new. I don't know if we've talked about it. I'm sure we will at some point. Those are my neighbors. They're moving. I hope I get neighbors that are half as cool because of what I'm about to do out here. So, did a rough trim with some scissors with kind of the loose stuff along the top. And the inside here, I've drawn a line, but you could see where the mold was. So this is just kind of a guideline. I'm gonna grab an angle grinder and trim these suckers out. Be right back. All right, rough trim is done. This is really long up here because I don't know how far back I'm gonna bring the flange yet. But it's in with 3 Clecos. It's probably enough. I'll obviously add a few more attachment points, but let's see what happens when we turn the wheel. All right, there's full lock that away. Obviously we're still at right height, there's no compression, but that looks pretty good. Let's go the other way. That's pretty much full lock the other way. I am psyched. These are gonna work out great. The next step for these is going to be who is calling me? Spam call. The next step for these is gonna be body work, and I'm not gonna bore you with those details, because body work sucks. So you'll see them again soon, but we got a couple other projects we're gonna work on. For now, so wrap up this project, we'll catch up with it. Rears are coming soon, because they're still naked, so we'll get the rears taken care of. We're gonna do some cooling system upgrades, some other things, get ready for the season, because in 2 days, it's 2022. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you subscribe, thank you. If not, consider it. And yeah, we'll see you soon.